it's a big win.
My friends, this victory belongs to you.
Doug Ford delivered a huge majority progressive conservative government.
We have sent a clear message to the world. Ontario is open for business.
The Tories pulled this off in spite of many obstacles.
It's not my values, it's not how I raised, it's not who I am.
The PCs didn't even have a leader in late January after Patrick Brown stepped down amid allegations of sexual assault. And there were many other hurdles along the way.
You don't have to fill that. She'll put your name, number, just sign it.
Yeah. Ford himself getting caught on audio tape selling fake memberships for his preferred candidate, Kinga Surma, not telling voters exactly how he'll pay for his election promises, and his sister-in-law suing Ford for withholding money from her late husband Rob's estate and mismanaging the family business.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
But the Ford team were able to fend it all off. NDP leader Andrea Horwath did give Ford a run for his money, but was only able to obtain the official opposition consolation prize.
I told the Premier-designate that New Democrats will work each and every day for the change that families need to make life better for all of us,
The NDP started in third, but picked up steam after this.
You don't have to choose between his insiders and her insiders. You don't have to choose.
But the momentum stalled as people started to question her candidates and her accounting. And it seemed she was not only fighting Doug Ford, but also the ghost of Bob Rae.
This is not 1990, and I am certainly not Bob Rae. In fact, he's a Liberal now.
As for the Liberals, it was a resounding defeat after 15 years in power.
I am resigning as the leader of the Ontario Liberal Party. I know. We're not. I'm going to cry. I have spoken to the party president and asked him to start the process of choosing an interim leader. And it is the right thing to do. There is another generation, and I am passing the torch to that generation.
Kathleen Wynne really had no choice. This is the worst result for the Liberals since 1951, when they took 7 seats. Hannah Thibodeau, CBC News, Toronto.
So now that the people of Ontario have spoken, let's hear a little more from the man who will become Premier. Here's what Doug Ford had to say after securing the win earlier this evening.
We have delivered a government that is for the people. A government that will respect your hard-earned tax dollars. And my friends, the party with the taxpayers' money is over. It's done. And I know that my brother Rob is looking down from heaven. I also need to acknowledge my opponents in this race, to Kathleen Wynne and Henry Horwath. No, guys. No. You fought a hard, very hard campaign, and I'll tell you, Ontario is better for it. And tonight, we have sent a clear message to the world. Ontario is open for business.
Okay, so the bottom line here, Doug Ford is in. Now what? Rosie's been busy delving not just into that question, but of course co-hosting the election special all night long. Rosie, what do you think? What does Doug Ford's Ontario look like?
I think it looks pretty different, and it looks pretty different, pretty dramatically different right away, actually. Some of the things that Doug Ford and the Progressive Conservatives represent, I think no surprise, they want less government. They want less government in your life, involved in your decisions. And how do they do that? One of the first things they'll do, they'll try and cut people's income tax. They want to give your money back to you so you can start making some decisions. Another big one, the cap and trade system, carbon tax. He doesn't buy into that. He doesn't think that's the best way to deal with carbon emissions. So he'll find his way out of that deal he has between Quebec and California. Then there's other things, like there's things that he talked about during that campaign that no one quite understands how he's going to do, but he's going to do it. He says, cut 10 cents off your gas per liter. I mean, that sounds like a great idea to people in Ontarians. How does he actually make that happen? And he'll start to shave things out of government. He has promised to do an audit of spending in Ontario, and that inevitably, and in spite of what he has said throughout the campaign, means that some things have to go, whether it's public servants, whether it's teachers or nurses, or just parts of the department. You can't cut out $6 billion of Ontario's budget and not see some of those things fade away. So Ontario is going to look a lot different, but clearly that's what Ontarians wanted. They wanted something that looked a lot different than they have seen for the past 15 years.
And Rosie, what about the rest of the country? And, you know, especially the federal government. I mean, they're losing a known quantity in Kathleen Wynne.
They are, sure, an ally, really, someone that they could count on and bring to the table and try and get other provinces rallied around them to build a consensus. They don't have that anymore. Now, we shouldn't make too big a deal out of it. These are both professional people. Justin Trudeau will know how to deal with Doug Ford. Doug Ford will want things from Justin Trudeau. But the relationship may be combative, especially if we see other shakeups across the country in terms of elections. Say, for instance, Jason Kenney gets elected in an Alberta election. Then we have a country that becomes a little bit more difficult for the Prime Minister to manage. But as you've been talking about, the Prime Minister is managing or trying at any rate to manage Donald Trump right now. Certainly he can handle Doug Ford, and they will have to come to some sort of, acceptable relationship and friendship, because they are going to need one another. Something I always like to point out, that Ontario makes up 40% of Canada's gross domestic product. Ontario has to work for the rest of Canada to work.